We've already warmed 1 degree Celsius, and do you know what's happened since then? Here, let me tell you. We have had more food grown since then, which feeds people. We are able to, producing fossil fuels keeps people's houses warm in the winter. That saves people's lives. People die in the cold.
Right.
This earth warming and carbon is actually healthy for us.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, John, we've seen this video before. Yes, it's nonsense. We know. We've already discussed the ways that it's nonsense, and you're right, it is nonsense. But virtually every day in America, which exists on Earth, which is rapidly heating because we refuse to do anything about climate change, there is yet more evidence that having someone in a position of power who believes that a heating world is a good thing is really bad for us. And I want to focus on the effect that this supposedly good heating has on one particular community. I want to focus on that today. And that is the unhoused. Because while we know that people die from exposure to the weather, it shouldn't come as a surprise that people who are exposed to more of the weather suffer more of the pain, suffering, and death. And so while generally excessive heat causes more weather-related deaths in the US than hurricanes, flooding, and tornadoes combined, that results in some 1,500 deaths annually. Half of those are estimated to be unhoused. And of course, we can't know because our nation at large doesn't care much about this community. And so scientific research doesn't generally track them nearly as well. To put it in perspective, just in the county that includes Phoenix, at least 130 homeless people were among the 339 individuals who died from heat-associated causes just last year alone, 130 people in that one county. Last summer, a heat wave blasted the normally temperate US Northwest and had Seattle residents sleeping in their yards and on roofs or fleeing to hotels with air conditioning. Across the state, several people presumed to be homeless died outdoors, including a man slumped behind a gas station. This is, by the way, maybe some people are not surprised that this happens in Phoenix, but in the Pacific Northwest, that people are literally just dying where they sit outside because of the heat. It doesn't need to be put in perspective how stupid what Marjorie Greene said is, but people are dying virtually every day, and we need to take it seriously. Ida, what do you think?
Yeah, they are. For someone who had to sleep in a car with their 2 kids and be affected by what was happening in the environment, and it's just unbelievable to me sometimes how some of these people behave. It is as if they have a secret and knowing that they are going to be immortal. You know what I mean? Like they take for granted so many things, the greed and I guess they are immortal through their legacy, that their children and what they leave behind. But it's amazing to me how much we've taken this planet for granted and thinking that it's always going to be here. But to hear, I'm exhausted with this woman. This is the 3rd time I've heard her today. And I just think like, wow, she is really part of the problem. Remember, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. I feel sorry for the people who believe these things because they're suffering the most. They are living in the places, whether it's a trailer park, a project, a reservation, whatever it is where they house the most, the most vulnerable and less, the people who are struggling the most, who actually have a place to live. They're the ones that suffer the most. I am so tired of hearing people deny climate change while watch in real time the effects of climate change. Those of us who come from these neighborhoods, these marginalized neighborhoods, who feel it the most and don't know what to call it because we don't even know what it is. It is just unbelievable. And just like when we talk about abortion and we talk about healthcare, we talk about housing, we're always talking about the people who are at the bottom. As that gap widens between the have and the have-nots, the have-nots are always suffering at the hands of the haves, all of these things. And this is no exception. And it is elderly people who don't have people caring for them dying of heat stroke. Like there's just a great number of people who are affected by this, people who have who are compromised, have health issues. My aunt has an autoimmune disease. She cannot be in this heat. It's just unbelievable how disconnected we've become from humanity and each other, that we will sacrifice human life for profit and gain and popularity. It is unbelievable to me when I think about MJT. We know Herschel Walker has a mental illness. He is self-admittedly, declared that he has one. But this is dissociative disorder, disconnected from other people and caring for the people that you claim to care about it's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, and not being remotely interested in the fact that this is going on. And by the way, that it's getting worse. Really fast, we'll close by, I'm gonna jump ahead to graphic 4. An AP analysis last year of a data set published by Columbia University's climate school found exposure to extreme heat has tripled and now affects about a quarter of the world's population. Heat-related deaths increased by 74% from the 80s to just like 6 years ago. And it's getting hotter and hotter, so this is going to get worse and worse. And just think about, like, I know if you're watching this show, there's a good chance that you already understand this. Like, you have politicians, you have governors of states, you have congresspeople who are obsessed with like stopping Disney from having a gay character. 1,500 people a year are dying from the heat. Like, think like you don't need to be religious to care about that. But imagine if like you claimed that like the core of your politics and who you are as a person was Christianity. Not giving a damn about so many people needlessly dying and not doing whatever you can, not resting until you've solved that problem or gotten that number as low as possible. But they don't care. They don't care. They care about Drag Queen Story Hour. They care about stopping that. They care about the grooming that they invented. That's what they care about. But people literally dying from heat, the least among us who've been left behind by society and desperately need help. There's no help coming. They don't care. They just don't care. They don't even acknowledge it.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.